The adverse effects of climate change are already being experienced in Guyana. Since the 1960s, the country has observed increases in temperature, sea level, more intense rainfall, and dry weather. More recently, Guyana suffered from an unprecedented nationwide flooding. This climate event affected over 20,000 farmers and 60% of our GDP. Building systems that protect against climate change and biodiversity loss is key to Guyana's prosperity, and the Low Carbon Development Strategy, LCDS 2030, does exactly this. Specifically, the LCDS will address environmental damage and loss through climate adaptation and resilience. This means building climate-resilient agriculture systems, developing climate risk assessment and insurance, enhancing sea defense, expanding mangrove restoration, strengthening drainage and irrigation systems, and supporting public health adaptation to climate change. Be part of LCDS 2030 and share in the vision of a global model for environmental integrity, one that assures thriving economic and social development, all within a low-carbon pathway.
This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Thursday, the 12th day of May in the year 2022. I'm Gordon Mosley, thanking you for joining us. And here's what we're tracking tonight. The Senior Minister of Finance in the Office of the President, Dr. Ashni Singh, today praised the Private Sector Commission for its efforts over the years in Guyana's business and political landscapes. At the opening of the 30th Annual General Meeting of the Private Sector Commission, the Finance Minister said over the years, when the PP Civic government presented its budget, it has received criticism as being pro-private sector or for the business community.
And this has always puzzled me, because the submission apparently being made is that a budget that is pro-private sector is somehow a bad thing for Guyana. This government's position is that a budget that promotes private sector growth, that promotes the creation of jobs, that promotes the generation of incomes for Guyanese people can only be a good thing for Guyana.
According to the Finance Minister, the PP Civic administration will continue to have a policy that encourages the growth of businesses and job creation, which he said is one of the key pillars to developing a country.
And we will continue to maintain a policy framework that is conducive to growth and expansion in the private sector, to creation of jobs, to generation of incomes, and to creation of wealth for all of the Guyanese people. This is the commitment of this People's Progressive Party civic government.
Dr. Singh said the Guyanese economy is currently shifting dramatically and is generating significant economic growth, and therefore it is important to have that shift in the way things are done.
This government sees the private sector and the Private Sector Commission and other private sector representative bodies as highly valued and cherished partners in national development.
According to the Finance Minister, the private sector has a crucial role to play to also assist in diversifying the country's economy so that the country does not become heavily reliant on the oil and gas sector. It was also announced at today's meeting that Guyana will restart the export of manganese after more than 50 years. More news coming up in just a moment.
How fast is fiber? Think fast. GTT Fiber has 3 packages with download speeds of 50, 100, and 150 megabits per second. That's fast enough to stream movies and music, to chat with Gran and Fran, to study, and more. What would you do? Upgrade to GTT Fiber today and don't get left behind tomorrow.
Plans are moving forward for the establishment of the landmark gas-to-energy project. Gas will be piped from the Stabroek block operations to shore. The project is expected to cut electricity rates by more than half and deliver significant benefits to Guyanese.
Guyana, get ready for the biggest Independence Weekend. Genesis Band and Utopia Launch 2022. 7 exciting events, starting with Touchdown Cool Effect with Patrice Roberts on Wednesday, May 25th. Stinging Nettles, El Dorado Rum Inclusive with Soca Sensation Kess the Band on Thursday, May 26th. Adoration with rising dancehall artists Skang, Chenille Mir, Drew Thoven, Gully Ras, and Kush, as well as Chutney Ray featuring Ravi B, Kenneth Salek, Bacardi, Tony Cuts, Bonita Willie, and Shakti Strings on Friday, May 27th. Snake and Dirty Tuve, as well as Eden, a gold and white toga party on Saturday, May 28th, and Soca and Wine on Sunday, May 29th. Are you ready? Are you ready to see the hot costumes for Cricket Carnival that will be displayed at every event? Brought to you by Hits and Jams Entertainment, King Leo Promotion, and the Cricket Carnival Committee. Follow our social media pages at Genesis Band for more details.
Yo, Atlanta is a big bad city vice pushing out the GT. Don't forget the 29th we got Bliss launch. Yeah, Atlanta we say city vice mushy live. You know, so we're gonna do some covers like bye. Must get a thing. Must get a thing. How we out a GT. All of the guys them a wine and shake. The Guyanese woman them a #1. Yo, flashback we say. Bliss launch 29th be Atlanta city vice mushy live. Keep my name out your mouth.
We've got exciting news! All 12-ounce yellow can Buster are now only $100. Buster, live in
Come
full
get
color.
your Buster, $100. Come get your Buster, $100.
Turning now to the tourism sector, Guyana is on track to see an increase in visitor arrivals this year, with more than 51,000 persons arriving in the first 3 months of the year already. That's according to the Guyana Tourism Authority. In a statement, the tourism body explained that despite the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, which crippled the tourism industry globally, the country was still able to welcome 158,347 visitors last year. And the country is now expected to see a 10% increase in that number by the end of this year. With the CPL Cricket Finals and Cricket Carnival being hosted in Guyana later this year, the visitor arrival numbers are expected to easily surpass last year's figures. As part of its plan to train more persons to cater for the growing tourism industry, the Tourism Authority has also announced that it has completed the training of 355 persons across the country in the areas of delivering quality service, hygiene and sanitation, first aid and CPR, and digital marketing. By the end of this year, the total number of persons to be trained in the hospitality sector is expected to jump to 2,000, with an additional 1,000 to be trained as part of a collaborative agreement with the island of Barbados. The Tourism Authority intends to reach out to communities across the country to assess the tourism potential of those communities and assist them in getting prepared to welcome visitors. Already this year, a number of communities have been visited and added to the list as tourist attractions. Now let's tell you that the Private Sector Commission plans to advocate for increased access for financing for small businesses, especially those that are operating in the oil and gas sector, so that those businesses could compete in an economy that is becoming competitive. Admitting that the country needs to build capacity to meet the demand of the expanding economy, the Private Sector Commission's chairman, Paul Chang, told the Commission's general meeting this afternoon that the organization will be leading the charge to get small businesses more prepared.
It has become clear that in order to keep pace with and continue to deliver our service to the expanding business community in a rapidly growing Guyana economy, the Commission must increase our human resource capacity, and we plan to do so to meet these demands where and when necessary.
In the coming months, the Private Sector Commission will be hosting 2 seminars on local content, where the focus will be on taking advantage of the Local Content Act and the benefits that are available for small businesses.
Moving forward, the Private Sector Commission will continue to advocate in the interest of its members and the growth and development of Guyana. We will continue to engage stakeholders on a wide range of issues, including access to finance for small businesses, especially those operating in the oil and gas sector.
The PSC head noted that over the last year, the Commission has made strides that will see its members reaping increased benefits in the business sector. He made specific reference to the signing of an agreement for the establishment of the Guyana-Suriname Business Council, a recent agreement between the PSC and the U.S., as well as several other local and regional initiatives.
The fruitful and productive engagement and successful collaborative undertakings over the past year demonstrates that the PSC has honored its mandate to the business community.
Today's event saw attendees from several private sector bodies. The event was also attended by the Minister of Finance, Dr. Ashley Singh, Opposition Shadow Finance Minister Walter Lawrence, and members of the business and finance sectors. An early morning accident at Maikoni on the east coast of the Marara has claimed the life of a 25-year-old man and left a number of other persons nursing serious injuries. The smash-up, which involved 3 vehicles, occurred at around 7:40 this morning. The dead man was identified as Eshwar Arjun. A police report of the accident stated that Eshwar Arjun was behind the steering wheel of a motorcar, driving along the Maikoni public road when a 4x4 vehicle, which was being driven by a 19-year-old man, slammed into the back of Arjun's car, resulting in him losing control and colliding with a taxi. The driver and 1 occupant of the taxi were hospitalized in an unconscious state, while Arjun suffered fatal injuries and was pronounced dead at the Maikoni hospital. The 19-year-old driver who triggered the 3-vehicular smash-up has since been taken into custody, pending possible charges. A breathalyzer test was administered to him, and there was no trace of alcohol found in his system. He's currently assisting the police with their investigations. The country has seen an increase in fatal road accidents since the start of this year. The Guyana Police Force believes speeding is the main cause for most of the accidents. Guyana joined the rest of the world today in observing International Nurses Day, which was held under the theme Nurses, a voice to lead, invest in nursing, and respect rights to secure global health. In a statement to mark the day, the Minister of Health said that the country has made significant strides in nursing, noting that nurses are now able to benefit from specialty programs such as emergency nursing, psychiatric nursing, critical care nursing, anesthesia, neonatal care, and surveillance. He also said nursing education has evolved significantly, with an increase in educational facilities, private institutions, and pursuance of the Masters in Public Health. According to the Health Ministry, the global COVID-19 pandemic has shown the world the important role that nurses play in keeping people healthy across the lifespan. He said that while there was significant disruption to healthcare in Guyana, there was also significant innovation that has improved access to care, and that nurses were provided with personal protective equipment and other paraphernalia to protect them while caring for patients. The Ministry of Health said it recognizes the efforts and hard work of nurses across the country to provide quality health care to patients at various health facilities, and they extend profound appreciation to all the nurses all across Guyana. GTT will be collaborating with its parent company ATN International to launch a call center service in Guyana, which will serve local and international clients. The company is hoping to commence operations next month, and its 214-member customer care team that was hired and trained last year will be part of the new company, Arrowhead Communications Incorporated. In a statement, GTT said all 214 persons in its customer care team servicing the needs of GTT and other subsidiaries of the ATN International Company in Bermuda and the U.S. Virgin Islands will be transitioned to and employed by the new Arrowhead Communications Company. This will create a new heart of a world-class operation that Arrowhead will continue to grow to provide an expanding level of world-class customer engagement. According to the company, it has been actively involved in the evolution of customer service centers in Guyana, with a history that goes back to over 30 years. In 2021, ATN and GTT announced plans for piloting the initiative, soon after GTT Chief Executive Officer Damian Blackburn was appointed. In Region 3, the Arrowhead pilot created 27 jobs, with plans to expand to 40 work-from-home jobs, facilitating operations for Alaska Communications Systems. The company recently launched its flagship GTT fiber service and embarked on an ambitious fiber rollout plan, including new areas in regions 3, 4, 6, and 10, which allows its fiber to be available in over 65% of its copper network. The new initiatives in the last year have led to the creation of 99 new customer care roles, the company says, and that represents a 66% increase in staffing. The British High Commissioner to Guyana, Jane Miller, has thrown her support behind the local LGBT community's call for the full repeal of the laws that prohibit same-sex intimacy. At the launch of the Guyana Pride Festival 2022, the High Commissioner supported the calls for the government to do away with laws that may be discriminatory against the LGBT community.
Guyana has inherited laws that were brought in many, many years ago, British laws. The UK has now repealed that. We now have very progressive laws in the UK that protect the rights of the LGBT community. And there are many countries, including Guyana, that has never changed. The UK has changed. And I'm very proud of the fact that the UK has changed, which is why I'm very happy to be championing the rights of LGBT community.
High Commissioner Miller said while many of the laws were brought to Guyana when it was under British rule, the United Kingdom has since progressed from many of those old positions, and Guyana needs to do the same.
My view is they were wrong then, they are wrong now, and I will do all I can to be championing changes that protect the rights of the LGBT community.
While the law which prohibited cross-dressing was struck down by the Caribbean Court of Justice, there are still laws that are seen as discriminatory against the LGBT community. Head of the Society Against Sexual Orientation Discrimination, Joel Simpson, said his organization will continue its push to ensure a safer environment for members of the LGBT community.
So part of the festival this year, we want to draw attention to this particular form of sexual rights and the injustices that still persist because of the presence of these laws.
Mr. Simpson said it is rather unfortunate that the government has not shown any support to the repeal of the existing laws. The Pride Festival will run from the 19th of June to the 16th of July.
Yo, Atlanta is a big bad city vice pushing out the GT. Don't forget the 29th of May we got Bliss launch. Yeah, Atlanta we say city vice mushy live, you know, so we're gonna do some covers like bye. Must get that thing, must get that thing. How we out at GT. All of the guys them a wine and shake them. Guyanese woman them a #1. Yo, flashback we said. Bliss launch 29th of May. Atlanta city vice mushy live. Keep my name out your mouth.
Have you heard the news?
The CPL is back.
Done! Yes!
The finals coming to Guyana.
Absolutely brilliant.
It's going to be a carnival of cricket.
It's going to be a carnival of cricket.
It's going to be a carnival of cricket.
See you there.
it to your friend. Watch Guyanese girl, them a hurtle, and them a do it in a circle. Watch me, missing each and every year. Flashback come again. Tell it to your enemy and tell it to your friend. Well, if you're ready for the party, ya then flashback, tell them a the trend. Follow me sing. This are not talking about a fly nor no bees. No girl can whine like Guyanese. Watch the girl, them a do it in a circle. Guyanese girls, them a dance in a circle. So, hear me and say, no, I'm a banter. You know, I sound boy killer, I represent the Golden Smile family. You know, say a flashback, old school party. You know, say, oh, the vibes is plenty. Slow down.
We've got exciting news! All 12-ounce yellow cab Buster are now only $100. Buster, live in
Come
full
get
color.
your Buster, Buster $100. Come get your Buster, Buster $100. Fuel it up and drive, super 95. Tune up, fuel it up and drive, super 95. Tune up. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive.
Across the region tonight, dozens of activists in the British Virgin Islands held a rally yesterday calling for the overseas territory to retain its autonomy, following a report by a commission of inquiry that said it should be governed directly from London. The report came the day after the arrest of former Premier Andrew Foy in Miami on drug and money laundering charges, leading him to be removed and replaced by his former deputy, Natalia Whitley. The Commission of Inquiry found that millions of dollars of state funds were spent each year by politicians and ministries in the territory of 30,000 people without proper process, along with serious dishonesty in relation to sales of public property and widespread abuse of appointments. The new premier has said the territory can address its problems without suspending the constitution and dissolving the assembly as recommended by the commission's report, which was independent of Foy's detention. Amanda Milling, a British Member of Parliament and Minister of State for Asia and the Middle East, who visited the territory to speak with local leaders last week, said governance must improve. The new cabinet on Wednesday submitted a plan to Milling that would implement the recommendations made by the Commission of Inquiry while maintaining local governance. Those proposals include ensuring that officials do not simultaneously serve on more than one board, as well as boosting the security of ports to reduce the flow of illegal drugs through the territories of the British Virgin Islands. In Jamaica, the opposition spokesperson on transport, Mikhail Phillips, is calling for the government to immediately convene a conciliatory meeting with air traffic controllers who have taken industrial action. Phillips says the government needs to move to ensure a quick return to normality, as flights for tourists and Jamaicans are already affected, leaving people stranded in airports and hotels in Jamaica and globally. He's arguing that the industrial action and the resulting disruption of Jamaica's air services were preventable had the government acted on several warnings over the past week and had taken the necessary actions. The opposition spokesperson said there had been loud rumblings and there was enough time to hear and settle the issues of concern to the air traffic controllers. He also said while the government forges ahead with its compensation reforms, it is becoming increasingly evident that at all levels of the public sector, workers have either not been adequately consulted or are simply being left in the dark. The move by the air traffic controllers in Jamaica to go on strike action has resulted in scores of flights in and out of Jamaica being cancelled. And finally tonight, international news. The United States has passed more than 1 million COVID-related deaths, says the White House. U.S. President Joe Biden said the country was marking a tragic milestone and each death was an irreplaceable loss. It's the highest official total in the world, although the World Health Organization believes the true death toll may be much higher elsewhere. The U.S. has also recorded more than 80 million COVID cases out of a 330 million population. The first confirmed case was reported on the 20th of January 2020, when a man flew home to Seattle from Wuhan in China. The 35-year-old survived after 10 days of pneumonia, coughs, fever, nausea, and vomiting. but deaths began to be reported just a few weeks later. In the 2 years since, the death rate has flowed as waves of the virus swept across the country, reaching highs of more than 4,000 a day in early 2021. Public health experts give several reasons for the high U.S. death toll, including high rates of obesity and hypertension, overworked hospital systems, and some vaccine hesitancy, and a large older population. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley, reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.